With James Cameron's Titanic so high up on the top and in the lead over all the other movies at more than $2 billion, the transatlantic cultural connection starts to pick up more strongly. But first, Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, holds place shy of $1 billion before both Harry Potter and The Lord of the Rings shoot up the charts, zooming easily past the half-billion club. Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone reaches its limit at under $976 million, and The Fellowship of the Ring tops out at just over $895 million. Both British films began declining in their fanatical interest after the end of 2002, when Spider-Man was garnering over $830 million. Inside 3 months, The Return of the King manages to break above $1 billion by December 2003, which none of the other competitors were able to achieve until August 2006. Finding Nemo is a pretty attractive, cute animated film that managed to hold fourth place within $20 million of The Lion King. Suddenly, out of nowhere, the Pirates of the Caribbean Dead Man's Chest zooms in fast to break the billion-dollar mark from August 2006. Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers, held fourth place briefly in 2003 at $925 million. Shrek 2 is another animated feature following close behind within $22 million of Finding Nemo from July 2004 for a couple of years. August 2006 saw two other Harry Potter films climbing above $800 million in income revenue, The Chamber of Secrets and The Prisoner of Azkaban. Then, by December 2005, up comes The Goblet of Fire. From a different concept entirely, The Matrix Reloaded comes up firmly, but only reaches 13th place with $714 million. Spider-Man 3 takes over from the first one after 6 years by July 2008 with over $890 million, showcasing the usual daring, intrepid gymnastic aerobatic displays. Competing franchises are pumping out new episodes in their long film series to fascinate and attract fans and compel viewers. Several movies are grossing nearer to $1 billion from late 2002. They chase the unattainable heights achieved and held by the Titanic, which is pulling over $2 billion. The new Pirates of the Caribbean at World's End, with those grubby, shabby pirates up against the British Admiral's fleet, is pressing up closer to $1 billion, which Dead Man's Chest was holding since August 2006. The Dark Knight is the next big attraction, cracking $1 billion box office revenue by August 2008. What impels such strong audience enthusiasm? Clearly, there is a grand force and power behind all of this, but there are definite shades of serious tragedy undercurrent to all the uplifting thrills that cinema can provide. Another burst from Harry Potter, this time The Order of the Phoenix, which trails Finding Nemo by $6 million to $2 million for 5 years between 2007 to 2012. During this time, a lot of movies rise up to over $1 billion. There are a good number of Harry Potter movies around the first decade into the new millennium. The Half-Blood Prince and The Deathly Hallows in 2010, but Avatar has claimed the majority interest after zooming straight to 900 million in September 2009. It keeps on going through past $1 billion in a month, swiftly behind Titanic until it overtakes Titanic with $2.15 billion in August 2010 and holds at $2.79 billion. I suddenly realized that this amazing film director, James Cameron, had been responsible for a number of interesting movies on the way to this huge mega success. As well as The Terminator in 1984, Cameron worked with Sylvester Stallone on the screenplay to Rambo First Blood Part 2 in '85. He co-wrote and directed on Aliens the next year with Sigourney Weaver, so that was antecedent to the sense of continuity which resurges when we watch Avatar. As well as working with Arnold Schwarzenegger in all the Terminator movies, he also wrote for and directed True Lies, which included Jamie Lee Curtis. It's obviously amazing how different Titanic is from all of these other fantasy science fiction films. some of which gave rise to video games and the Terminator TV series. So I think we can safely say that James Cameron likes working with super fit, buff bodybuilders. Arnold Schwarzenegger is another major individual who has emblazoned supreme images onto movie viewers' minds. It is worth looking in depth with more focus at a number of the Schwarzenegger pictures, as they have been influential in changing or controlling the interpretation of our position in time and culture. From Conan the Barbarian, a picture that cost $20 million but recouped $79 million worldwide, to Red Sonja, we see a step down in economic efficiency to a picture that cost nearly 2.5 times what it was able to eventually return in revenue worldwide. Jane Mansfield's story, with the production budget of $7 million, but seemingly only grossed a pitiful $19,390 worldwide. The appeal of a bodybuilder husband, Mickey Hargitay, who fathered Mariska, who survived the car accident that killed her mother when she was only 3 years young, and went on to become Olivia Benson in Law and Order TV, seems to have drawn Arnold's interest in such a flashy project, but he was not able to make it the wild success that he is known for in other projects. After all, it was early days, 1980, still 2 years before the more successful Conan the Barbarian, and 4 years before the Conan the Destroyer in 1984, which cost $18 million to produce, and total gross US and worldwide was around $61 million. Another 4 years later, Twins became his most lucrative picture. Arnold shrewdly worked on the comedy for no salary, as he was an action star with no experience in comedic roles. The picture Twins took $18 million to make, but was super popular for the time, 1988, and so worldwide box office was 216.6 million. With Arnold, of course, there is exploitation of the instant excitement associated with a striving for physical excellence and perfection of power, flexibility and control with authority, which can be controversial but attractive to many. In Twins, the humor of contrast to Danny DeVito's little sly crook, whom the world never favored but neglected cruelly, with Arnold's nurtured body and mind as a perfect character who is surprisingly hilariously innocent. A recipe evidently for box office gold. It will take a whole long video to analyze box office returns, success or flop for all of Arnold's movies. Stay Hungry cost $3.7 million to make, but recouped easily, grossing $24.8 million. To spend longer on this will definitely require at least one more video. His film career started as far back as 1970 with Hercules in New York. I digressed from looking at the special intersection of James Cameron with his bodybuilding superstar actor, because many of the movies bursting from the mid-80s were pouring out so strongly with Ebullient's influence. Commando, Raw Deal, Predator, The Running Man, Red Heat, Twins, Total Recall, Kindergarten Cop, Last Action Hero, True Lies, Junior, Eraser, Jingle All the Way, Batman and Robin, End of Days, and then into the new millennium with The Sixth Day. Terminator 3, Rise of the Machines was not directed by James Cameron. Around the World in 80 Days in 2004, and then Sylvester Stallone was calling in 2010 with his Expendables project, which became a new franchise, which included Jason Statham, Jet Li, Dolph Lundgren, Eric Roberts, Randy Couture, Steve Austin, Terry Crews, Mickey Rourke, Bruce Willis, and also see Chuck Norris in Expendables 2. A lot of high-level macho beef. Eventually, Avengers Endgame overtakes Avatar in May 2020. Toy Story 3 and Alice in Wonderland engage audiences in February 2010, holding place in the billion-dollar club for at least 4 years. The Deathly Hallows breaks the billion-dollar ceiling in August 2011. Transformers Dark of the Moon wins $1.09 billion in May 2012, but next month The Avengers gains on that, suddenly ultimately stretching to $1.5 billion. The Dark Knight Rises overtakes The Dark Knight. Skyfall reminds us of another major old franchise, the James Bond series. By this stage, April 2014, all the top 15 films are over $1 billion minimum now. Iron Man 3 has blasted into fifth place from November 2013. Frozen manages to break beyond the rather more heavily serious Skyfall with an exuberant songfulness, and even goes on to surpass Iron Man 3 by December 2014. Another Transformers Age of Extinction zips up to the top club between The Dark Knight Rises and Skyfall. Avengers Age of Ultron pushes to reinforce the success. I suppose 2 is definitely company these days. Age of Ultron overcomes Iron Man 3, Frozen and the Deathly Hallows, but it's not able to get ahead of Furious 7, which screamed interview in the rearview mirror, turning out to have more juice to achieve the $1.5 billion just behind the Avengers in the spring of 2015, holding fourth place. Nothing static now. Jurassic World is storming up these super high-priced Victor's charts to take third place by the end of 2015, whereupon a new Star Wars, The Force Awakens, blasts past the 1.5 billion, passing Jurassic World and eventually up to the 2 billion class. Entertainment is very competitive and there's always other options beckoning for interest. Captain America Civil War has shown up April 2016 in this hallowed club of winners. Next, the inexplicable, unfathomable, inscrutable Minions from the last quarter of 2017. Colored drawings depicting Buckingham Palace wow the viewers in this film. After the animated film in 1991, 26 years later, a live-action musical version of Beauty and the Beast with Emma Watson and a huge cast with some other famous faces. It reminds me of the Metropolitan Opera for costumes and stage design properties. It's an opportunity to extend the artistry beyond the cartoon animation. I'm going to bring this lengthy video to a close now and reflect on films from spring 2017 up to present day in my next presentation. Click on any of my links to discover offers for well worthwhile rewarding artistic pursuits.